adapted to life in Japan?
That's an interesting question. Hiking in the mountains of Japan, one comes across many shrines. The spirits of animism still inhabit this land. I once looked out of the window of my apartment and saw a Shinto priest doing a dance where a 7-Eleven was going to be built. He was consecrating the ground. Sometimes I look out over the ocean and remember the West Coast, San Francisco, Carmel, Big Sur. I hear waves crashing, gulls crying. I see demonstrations in the streets. I see the Grateful Dead playing at the Greek Theater in Berkeley. On the freeways I see a blur of red taillights leading to the city, sounding like a jazz death. And then I look around at where I am and hear silence. If you had to choose between jazz death and silence, which would it be? Cherry flakes, snow blossom, empty mouth, open hand, plant a wish, take a stand, moral compass, failed state, nail a plank, drive a stake, cherry blossom, snow flakes. To tell the truth, I'd been spending a lot of time at my computer, reading journal articles, editing student essays, and looking at the news. Sometimes just surfing. What I've learned while surfing is that everything is the same. Everything is a square, or should I say thousands of tiny squares. And these squares come in 3 colors: red, green, blue. This world I surf is a simulacrum of another world. But which world do I actually inhabit? A world of infinite variation, or a world comprised of only red, green, and blue?
Electronic warfare has entered Facebook and Twitter. Personal threats masquerade as shared comic events. The commercial mind, open to every type of entertainment, absorbs multiple insults upon the intellect, like children sucking on friendly cigarettes. Facebook users are required to forgive and forget, for it's all virtual. Fake facts, likes and frowns, nothing is real, except the sunny patterns of funny pixels that determine how we feel.
me about the nightlife. Didn't you used to like to go to blues joints?
I used to go to bars when I was in my 20s. Over here, they're really nice cafes. The regulars are artists, intellectuals, expats. We talk about books, movies, and travel. There's nothing better than a good read, good music, conversation. Builds camaraderie. But the shootings in a Paris nightclub put a chill in the air of cafe life. I do miss those cafe bookstores back in the States, like Barnes & Noble. Here I know of a used bookstore where you can take a book and read it while having a latte or a cappuccino, and then return it to the shelf. During the day, classical music. At night they play jazz. Well, it's like a timeless feeling, I guess. Like in Casablanca. Remember Rick's Cafe? And in walks Ingrid Bergman. And Rick says, of all the gin joints and all the towns and all the world, she walks into mine, slamming his fist on the table. Would she be walking into a hail of bullets today? Not likely. But those bullets in Paris pierced our innocence, injecting fear and apprehension. Imagine a poster for a place called Club Indigo, a poster riddled with bullet holes, a poster that was once so vibrant with color, but is now faded and gray, as if frightened by a ghost.
In a slow-motion indigo dream, life lived on exotic shores. I bask in the friendly fire of fine-tuned thoughts and warm relations. In the ever-blue tinged designed cafes with cubic arms, abstract legs, with drinks are poured and jazz is played. A muffled sound, not so loud. Gunshots in the corridor. No place is safe, the waitress says. Not even here. Jazz plays on, blues too, but indigo dreams no more. Red ones cloud a distant shore.
Have I ever been shocked? Oh, you mean had culture shock. Well, maybe coming back to the States once. I was harassed at the Customs and Immigration desk in Tucson Airport. I felt like a foreigner in my own country. Lonely? If I get lonely, I go hiking. In nature, with all that green around, I forget myself and feel enchanted again. Remember Fern Hill? Green and golden, I was huntsman and herdsman, and fire green as grass, flashing into the dark. Detached? Like in the Buddhist sense? I guess you could say that. Sometimes it's like walking meditation. Well, I relax. When I climb a mountain and look down, I begin to find myself again. You know, the good high country, that's what I seek. It's a place where you're fearless in the face of life's challenges. It's a place where you are beneath no one. And unlike the world of business and politics, it's a place where only the fit belong. A golden carpet of leaves lead up Fernburn Path to a waterfalls and rocks and trees. Golden sun streaks down, veils of dust uplifting ghosts of years ago. Icons nailed to trees commemorate saints and sages who once roamed this place. Yet high atop the misty walls of rock, a bloated goat bellows. Staccato fire denting dignity, tossing spark-like shards, sent there somehow by careless farmers. It has gone mad and should be shot, but no one has the heart. It continues on kicking, staring down, no focus, no plan, no thought, no art. Oh yeah, superstition abounds here too. One place I visited a couple of times, Mount Asari at the top of Honshu Island, was unique. Really creepy. Smell of sulfur in the air, yellow nicotine rocks hissing and boiling water rising from the depths. This is Japanese purgatory. In this place, souls transition from one world to another. Back across the water, armies of ghosts linger around willow trees and march along a snow-packed trail in the Arctic desert. But like most ghosts, they don't know they're dead. It's not like they're completely dead, but rather that something inside of them has died. And they don't appear as phantoms. They look just like normal people. You see them walking in the distance just like everyday folks. They're all dressed in the same attire. All of their clothes are worn and tattered, and so are their souls. But they continue on their march, consumed by a cause that was handed down. They wander the earth, hoping for some kind of validation that's only found in battle. Their desperate cry, "Great again!" In this cabin of skull and bone, warming hiking boots by fire alone, I fade into night by fire until some loud voices starkly laugh and shout, "Make us live again!" I lurch awake, go outside, and hear barbarous warriors trudging past, careless, drunk in time. "Remember, we're strong," their battle rant. These white-robed figures parading past are amusing in white conical hats. I go inside and remember the dawn. So long, medieval miscreants. Will Gore-Tex gloves and Vibram soles protect us against these elements? How long have I been doing what I do? Decades, and I've never looked back. I suppose it's kind of like fly fishing or learning how to drive a Defender through rivers and over dunes without getting stuck. It's been said that teaching is a noble profession. We help others to understand things. Teachers build bridges between the known and the unknown. Once you choose a career, it's like getting on a train. The scenery shifts. Decades fly past. You build a life based on reason, critical thinking, human values, compassion for those around you, and then all of a sudden the academic model is replaced by a business model. Idealism, altruism, empathy are all thrown out the window, and the train gains speed. Hostile takeovers are taught. Black knights are given praise. Many of the white knights just walk away. But some of us remain, doing what we've always done. Listening to the wires hum in the lanes of polished dream, I find series of fake fruit. Mixed tense verbs taking root. In the mist of what seems, sun-streaked image of what is, waves of steam calm my nerves, razor scrapes across my jaw. The train arrives, I climb aboard. As it leaves, a billboard slides. Suddenly its words collide. Is a run-on sentence now correct? What new rules will they select? No time to think, just elect an imposter who's illiterate. Now we learn to forget. Along the rails reality bends, parallel structures going wide, comma slices multiply, divide. What goes up must transcend time and space, corporate rules. I'm a teacher on an ancient train. I grade my papers, never late, fixing fragments, grammar's fool. Harmony with nature? You don't see much of it back there, do you? Here you see it, but only in the old temples and shrines. However, intent to live in harmony with nature is important. The greenhouse effect is real, and it's going to lead to certain catastrophe unless checked. Remember that song, When the Music's Over? Well, music is life on Earth. What have they done to the earth? What have they done to our fair sister? Morrison was a visionary of sorts. Ravaged and plunder and ripped her and bit her, stuck her with knives in the side of the dawn and tied her with fences and dragged her down. That's what's going on now. And then there's Rachel Carson's Silent Spring, which is the Bible of the ecology movement, also published in the 60s. Nothing has changed since then. In fact, it's gotten worse. Fire burns in the forest. Twigs snap, flames lick leaves. Smoke pours, clouds form. Wait for the rain to fall, like a dancer's sudden leap, or an army's soft retreat. Weeds stream, mushroom glows, silent spring knows nature's primal scream. It's crazy what's going on. Some call it culture wars, but it's playing out politically. Gun violence, racial hatred, women's health issues. There's no compromise on anything. No consensus on outcomes. That wouldn't happen here in a collectivist society. The Japanese think before they act. Back there they act before they think. In a system based on diversity, the least stable elements dominate. Well, back there, the least stable aren't the liberals. The least stable are the far-right libertarians. It's not only unhealthy to women, children, and other living things, it's dangerous. Oh yeah, I've heard that before. Creative destruction. But that mostly refers to businesses and corporations. Could it also apply to a whole country?
Great again. Fuck you, motherfucker.
There's a brawl outside in the avenue. It's the Montagues and the Capulets. I don't want to pick sides, but if I do, it would be Juliet, for she's thoughtful and kind, while Romeo is full of his pride. The whole neighborhood is going down over this thing. Everyone's got a grudge. It's all about family affairs, which need compromise. But who would be the judge? There's a need for change. There's a need for stability. What needs to change are attitudes. What needs to be maintained is democracy. The sounds of silence. Yeah, we sang that in elementary school. We also sang If I Had a Hammer. We lived in the nation's capital, so what I remember most from those years was the riots. After Martin Luther King's assassination, much of the downtown area was destroyed. In suburbs, windows were crashed, cars vandalized, lawns torn up, and mass transit stopped. If you were white and not at home that night, your life was in danger. Perhaps the whole notion of unbridled capitalism needs to be revisited. It's never been questioned seriously in the past decades due to the overthrow of communism at the end of the Cold War. A democratic country should never be run by a cutthroat businessman, a slumlord millionaire, or a dictator. The question we should be asking ourselves is, do we want a closed society with a capital face, or an open society with a social face? Forward march the burden of dreams, the desert, the wind, sand and sun, streetlight halos, our insight, in between the sheets of night. Christmas morning puppet show, slumlord mansion CEO, climb in bed, the storm is near, howling gales and whirling stars. The wired walls hear every sigh. The salt clear sky sees every fear. Forward march, the burden of dreams, the night, the stars, the waking state. Allay all fears, it's not too late. No, I've never lived in the Deep South. Oh, the Deep State? It's kind of a fantasy to think that the government actually controls all of those things. I grew up watching a television show called The Twilight Zone. I will never forget its haunting opening monologue. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition. Here in Japan, the History Channel airs a show called Ancient Aliens. In its opening sequence, similar to the Twilight Zones where images parade across the cosmos, Ancient Aliens begins with a star-filled universe where historical images and these phrases float and rotate along the screen's picture plane. Who are they? Why did they come? What did they leave behind? Where did they go? Will they return? People have cited UFOs, and theories about them abound. But isn't it really something in our collective unconscious that drives all of those sightings? We live in a time steeped in magical realism, fueled by primordial fears where imaginations run boundless in the vastness of space, where fears of the unknown are projected onto the known. A shadow passes over a deep Scottish lake, and a monster is born under the surly sun. Footprints are found in snow where no one goes, and an elusive ancient one arrives. A missing link who dwells in many lives. In the halls of government, a deep state is said to control the status quo. It could be a shadow held over from long ago, or a collective desire for a god, a chorus, an oracle, anything that would dispel the unseasoned state we're in. I'm an expat from over the ocean, Hawaii, before that California. Originally, I was a Washingtonian. Well, in the minority, of course. Oh no, I haven't been back there for a while. All I know is what I hear on the news, read on the internet, or collect from friends who've recently been there or still live there. All reports I've gathered tell of an Orwellian nightmare where truth has been branded as fake news. Political demographics have been fractured and turned against each other. Propaganda is the art of the day. What I see is the force of powerful lies gusting and whispering across the land I once knew and loved.
You've arrived in the land of newspeak, where ignorance is strength, and invisible people fill the mall. So many you can't count them all. Freedom is slavery is written on the workhouse gates. The thought police are alt-right and use alt-facts to offset any dissonance. Brutality is bliss at demonstrations where unalt protesters get their heads bashed in. Ideas are simply stated. Voodoo economics becomes unblocked flow. Basic belief in God is practiced by those who know. Truth isn't truth, an alt-right lawyer claimed, so it's an alt-right fact. You're a student of newspeak, and you must get on track. Right values, right facts. A knowing is ignorance, not right. A knowing is strength. Correct. Strength is within us, not right. Strength is learning to fight. Alt-right.
There isn't much you can do from afar, except sign petitions. It's not like you can write a new Declaration of Independence, can you? I did join the Women's March in Tokyo in January of 2017. 648 expats gathered that cold evening in Hibiya Park. There we organized into groups of 50 protesters. Each group was 6 persons wide, with the width of a traffic lane, with a march official and a police officer at the head of each group. These sections of the procession would be halted at traffic lights, or when a car needed to pass through our ranks. I was interviewed at Hibiya subway station by a Reuters reporter on my way to the march. He asked me why I was coming out to march on such a frigid night. I told him that I won't be cold because, and then he quoted me in this article, Trump gets my blood boiling. Everything we value could be gone. It's time to speak our minds and our concerns and to do our best to salvage the values we cherish in America. So bring on the night. Bring on the night, bring on the dawn, call on the stars, take on new form. Ring bells for the winners, say grace for the sinners, pay homage to lessons in midnight confessions. Think of things that get lost in the dark. What is the matter locked in the heart? Bring on the night, bring on the dawn, call on the stars, take on new form. Ring bells for the winners, say grace for the sinners, pay homage to lessons in midnight confessions. Stand on tall mountains, we'll surf through the sands. Open our minds, then take a stand. For it's my land, for it's your land. A short change is coming, smoke signals the night. New dawn for democracy, our call to unite. Bring on the night, bring on the dawn. Call on the stars, take on new form. Bring on the night, bring on the dawn. Call on the stars, take on new form. Feeling a bit hungover from all of that ginseng tea of the night before, I went for a walk around Sutta Onsen. I stopped at the pond there and contemplated its reflection. A face looked back at me, a shadow, and beyond that, a reflection of the depthless sky. I've always been here, looking at this pond. The clouds are passing over water as water lilies open their tired hearts. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? What are these powers that the moon holds? Are they the same powers that draw us towards creating a better world, a better being to be? We who venture off alone without the safeguards or constraints of citizenship, only seeking a moment of poetic perfection, are we asking for too much? Is that sort of thing allowed us in this life? Refugees. Moonlight music of the lost world sings the empty street to sleep. A Zen chant, a soft lament, a tattered maple leaf. We are ashes of the night, floating higher to meet you. We are the dark shapes, come to the river's edge to see the moon. We rise wrapped in mystery, light wavering on the surface, pulling ourselves out of the deep. Unknowing world, unheard of world, just overhead. We are dying, we are swimming, we are being born.